parties that we're quite interested in understanding are Schneider, ABB, E&I Engineering, I guess Eaton, and maybe Mardix Group, and what the relative differences are between these providers and pros and cons.
Mm-hmm. Well, E&I, start with them maybe. One thing, they seem to have experience with data centers, but and this can be quite normal, is they don't make their own medium voltage circuit breakers. So they would have to buy them, and they have agreements with in the medium voltage switchgear to go to, be it ABB, Eaton, or Schneider, to buy their circuit breakers and use it in switchgear that they have designed to use those circuit breakers, be it a circuit breaker that interrupts current in SF6 or in a vacuum bottle, depending. And they go to a manufacturer of circuit breakers that sells circuit breakers by themselves to others, and this is quite common. There are switchgear cubicle manufacturers who then buy a circuit breaker and apply it in their equipment and meet the necessary IEC or UL standards. So that's done. So that would be their one of their limitations is that they're not totally vertically integrated with their own circuit breakers, and this could be a decision of volume. They may not have enough volume in the medium voltage to warrant developing and manufacturing their own circuit breaker. It's that kind of a make or buy decision that they have made internally.
I just want to understand, I've also heard that particular feature be described as an advantage, because if they are given a design that integrates an ABB or a Schneider circuit breaker, then they can obviously deal with that, whereas if it's an ABB, then Schneider obviously can't bid for that project, and so on, vice versa. Is that something that you've seen?
Yes and no, because unless you've had the equipment specified in the specifications prepared by the client, say Google, who says I only want ABB circuit breakers, for example, then yes, ABB could bid, and anybody else that uses ABB circuit breakers in their switchgear, for example, like E&I. So those two companies could bid if the specifications are written that way. If they're open specifications, just as long as you meet the technical standards, then anybody can bid. And it has to be competitive unless there's other constraints, such as maybe a requirement for local manufacturer, because Google got a government incentive that says, well, you have to have so much local content if you want our money to help you build that data center. A lot of politics start getting into the thing. And then, of course, they have to pick a local, maybe from the European and EU company rather than, say, a North American company or something like that. That could also play into it.
Okay, understood. And so E&I, what is the market reputation for them?
It's very good. Actually, in data centers, they've done very well with data centers and have a good reputation there. Mostly in Europe. They have expanded a bit into the U.S., but still have to really establish themselves in the North American market. They're strong, and I'm not sure, did they start in the U.K., I think? But they're quite well known in Europe. Reasonably well known in Europe, I would say. Not as strong as ABB or Siemens in Europe, but they are, they're maybe a second or third type of supplier.
But they position themselves slightly differently to ABB and Siemens, no?
Yes, they do, because they have a specialized line. They specialize in substation switchgear of not the big outdoor equipment. They specialize. They found a niche in industrial applications.